Western Spring Television, as it is.
Good afternoon to you all, wherever you are this moment, be it in your homes, in your offices, even in your workshop. Welcome to Western Spring Television, Oshobo, and to the program, Pertinent Questions. That's our one-on-one interview television show that comes your way every Monday at 1 o'clock. It's a show that always goes conversational and where we invite our eminent guests to discuss in very conversational manner issues at stake. Today, we are discussing sundry matters, sundry issues. There are issues we are looking at from the local angle and the international angle as well. My name is ADETOYESE SHITTU ALAMU, your anchor. My guest, on the other hand, is a veteran journalist who, at one time in his journalistic career, became the chief press secretary to the governor of the state in the person of Chief Adebisi Akande. My guest is a multi-tasked individual who in his days, active days, is now retired, active days at Osun State Broadcasting Corporation, was a senior journalist in the news department. He was director of marketing, and later he was also the director of administration at the same station. It tells you for free that he's, as I said, multitask and both versed and versatile in the profession of journalism. His name, I tell you in a jiffy, Mr. SANYA FADIPE, is a personal friend, a professional colleague, and a man of many parts. This afternoon, he happens to be my guest on Pertinent Questions on Western Spring Television. SANYA, how are you doing?
I'm fine, thank you.
The weather, is it doing fine today?
Oh, the weather has been fine since yesterday. You know, breezy, easy going, not too sunny, not too cold.
Okay, that's very good. This should be your first time here, I suppose.
Oh, yeah.
So what's your impression about this place?
Oh, this is a beautiful studio.
Each one of your professional sons put together.
I think this place must be have been put together by somebody who has taste. It's a very fine studio. Looking at all the acoustics, looking at the cameras and everything that we have here, I think it's a beautifully put together place. Nice one.
Thank you very much. Now let's go into the details. Our first part of our presentation will last for the next 22, 23 minutes. And then we'll break the show and come up with a second part. As our topic tells us, journalism and sundry matters, because you're a journalist. Essentially, we are treating sundry matters, but each of them has a relationship with journalism, one way or the other. Now, as a veteran, journalism in Nigeria is the social media posing difficulties or threats to the traditional media. I want to find out from you.
I wouldn't say the social media is posing any threat. I would just want to say that the social media is just hindering the traditional media up to its duties, waking it up to its duties, because the traditional media has been doing well all along. But when the social media came, you know, all sort of junks are packed to social media. People don't know about reportage. People don't know about reportage. Just coming there saying all sort of things. But the traditional media is there to give you the facts. There to sift between the wheat and the chaff. And that's the job of the traditional media.
Yeah, that's why I said, is it a threat?
It's not.
No, to some extent. If you have a competitor who is not doing it the right way, and you are doing it the right way, and the competitor has a large youth followership.
Oh, yes.
Isn't that a threat?
That's what I'm saying. It's not a threat.
Okay.
See, it's only waking us up to a vibrant and more active journalism. If we have been doing something that were not right in the past, I think the social media is there now to push us to a higher level. Now, if the social media is not doing well as of today, and they are still having a large followership, it means the traditional media is not doing what it's supposed to do. Otherwise, it should be from the traditional media that we should be taking a cue as to what is right and what is wrong. So if you put something on the social media and the traditional media believes that this thing you're putting there is not right, let them go and research, find out, investigate and find out which is the correct thing, and then put it still on the social media, because even the traditional media still has that platform of social media to perform its duties. That's why I say it's not a threat, really.
Okay, let's dovetail seriously on the traditional media. Our contemporary journalists, as you know it, I know you left the service some 12 years ago, our contemporary journalists following the ethics of the profession, seriously speaking.
I doubt it. That's one area I find very difficult to give us a thumbs up. The contemporary media practitioner today is after survivor. Survivor, that's all. He's not looking at the ethics of the profession. He's not practicing the trade as it should be practiced, as it was practiced in those days. These days, in the past, when you go into that media, you are not going there to make money. That's number one. You're not going there to just exhibit yourself. You go there primarily to tell people what they are supposed to know and do it well. But today, people go there these days not to express what they are supposed to express. They go there today just to flaunt themselves. Okay? And you find a lot of people in that profession today that are not doing what the normal media should do. And people who are to control them, the editors and things like that, I'm not quite sure they're also high up there to know how to control them, to tell them what to do and what not to do.
Well, you mentioned survival a short while ago.
Yeah.
Is this not a challenge from ownership? Is it not ownership challenge? Do they pay them the right
I see where you're
wages? Going. Do they give them the leeway? Ownership.
Yeah, ownership.
Ownership has so many encumbrances, or brings about so many encumbrances.
Okay. I think this ownership problem has been there right from the onset of journalism in Nigeria. And we cannot tell who pays the piper not to dictate the tune. But in dictating the tune, whoever is practicing tune should be able to know how far you can go and how far you can stop. But if you are not giving them enough training, or the journalist himself is not trying to have enough training by himself, he will not be able to get to where he has to get to. And that's not the problem of the owners of these media houses. For instance, look at banking. If you're a banker and you go into the banking profession, you're supposed to have some things, some professional qualifications, training. And a lot of them go for this professional training with their own money. And journalists today, that's why I told you, I said a lot of them are there for survivor. They will tell you they don't have the finances to go into this training. And the owner of the media who's trying to set up will look for somebody who can train himself. But a lot of them today are not training themselves. And if you don't train yourself, you don't get to where you're supposed to get to. So that's the problem. It's not really ownership. Ownership problem has been there all along.
Your candid advice to them, because on this show we are going on Sundry matters. What is your advice to the younger ones?
I think the younger ones, if they are listening now, if they are looking at us now, if they are watching us, I think the best thing I would advise them to do is train yourself. Bring yourself up. Do things that will make you stand out. Something extra, the extra mile. Go the extra mile to make you stand out internationally, professionally, in such a way that you can be marketable anywhere.
And let your report, each time you present a report,
as if it's the last you ever present.
Thank you very much. We move on to another segment of our presentation. This one has to do with elections. 18 days ago, the UK had its general election. Prime Minister Rishi Sunak, though won his constituency and so has returned to the House of Commons as the MP for the third time since 2015, he lost the premiership election. He lost it to Labour's leader, Sir Keir Starmer. How do you, looking back 18 days ago, how would you assess the elections in the UK?
I think the elections in the UK 18 days ago, just going back to the old traditional United Kingdom as conservatives. You see, it's not likely that you expect that somebody who's an outsider to UK, somebody who has been, whose people have branded him as a kind of ambassador to go and teach the UK. That's what he's been saying when he became the Prime Minister.
I want you to explain it very well.
Yeah.
Well, don't miss words.
Yes, yeah. You see, when Rishi became the Prime Minister, his people started saying that, yes, the UK cannot do it right. And that's why Rishi has come to put them right. And you cannot expect anybody, any average Briton, to sit back and enjoy that.
Yeah.
No. So they have to fight back and say, no, we don't want that. And the only way to fight back, if it was not Rishi that was going for re-election, it would have been a different kettle of fish. But that Rishi was going back for a re-election, I expect that the UK, the average British, would say, no, don't want this to come again.
Yeah, the new Prime Minister in his election described the 14 years of Conservatives as a period of chaos. So whether you put a British white or a British black or a British colored person there, there was an agenda to flush them out.
Maybe that's because of the Brexit. You see, the Brexit brought the Labour Party down, really down. It was a very wrong decision at that time. But I think the Conservative, sorry. I think it was working. The Prime Minister then was working according to what he believed the British want. But unfortunately, it didn't work out. And what they have suffered, exiting from Brexit, is quite a huge loss. And that's why he was able to have this edge.
Landslide
over them this time around. And in fact, any Prime Minister that came to be in the saddle for this last few 18 months would have seen that UK was dribbling, was fluctuating. Let me put it that way. So that is why that party won. And you cannot ask an average Briton about what the party has done so far with the Brexit, with the exit out of Brexit. No, it hasn't been very good for the UK.
But fundamentally, David Cameron, who was the Prime Minister at the time of Brexit, felt or thought that the UK was not going to come out of the Brexit. That's why he floated the idea of let's have a referendum.
Yes.
But he is a conservative. And so in terms of, it was their own baby. It was not Labour.
It wasn't. It wasn't. Labour would not say it was his own baby. But then, when the thing happened, what did they come out of it? They came in worse.
Yeah. They came in worse. But they felt, the leadership of Britain then felt that the people would not pull out of Brexit by turn. That's why he put his political image at stake.
Online.
Yes. And he suffered it.
Now, if he thought that way and felt the people would act one way and the people acted the other way, then it's his fault. It means he did not do his political mathematics very well. Because you have to go really deep to investigate, to find things out before you go into that kind of big decision.
I was privileged to be in the UK before the elections and after the election, covered parts of it. The whole thing was that they were against, majority of electorate was against conservatives. And what you just said a short while ago, it was like adding insult to injury.
Yeah.
So by every means, Labour was going to come up.
Oh,
And
definitely.
They succeeded in coming
Definitely, because they played their cards too.
up. Yeah.
Because it was not actually their own making in coming up. It was making of conservatives that brought Labour up. What Labour kept saying during the elections were things that the conservatives did not even, how would I put it now, did not even think about, really. And so it's like me if I want to fight somebody and then giving that person my
showing
source
him
point.
your arsenal.
My arsenal. So that's what happened. That's why we expected that Labour would win.
And it was going to win.
It was going to win,
And it did win by
landslide.
Before Labour came up, they had also, before Conservatives came up 14 years ago, Labour had also run the administration for 13 years. Now, Labour is back in the saddle. What are the prospects?
Let's assume, let's pray that they learn. Politicians never learn. All over the world, they never learn. You see, there are templates now on ground for Labour to follow, to toe, and make sure that it keep reimagining as the leader. But will they toe those lines? That's the problem. If they will toe those lines, the reason why Conservatives have been there for 14 years now is the same reason that Labour lost the first time.
Yeah.
And so the same thing is recurring again now. And I'm going to see, maybe, I don't know how many years now, you're going to see Labour do well.
Yeah.
Until something comes up.
5 years.
Let's
the next 5 years.
On something, it may not be in the next 5 years, maybe before the next 5 years.
They have a 5 year term.
5-year term. But it depends on what happens. Whatever happens during this 5-year term will determine whether Labour goes on or comes down.
Any lessons before we leave this?
The lesson here is that for politicians all over the world, especially Nigeria here.
Yeah, for us here
in Nigeria, we should learn. Because when we have a template on ground, when we have a background, when we have how would I put now, a solid foundation laid for us, let us always try to follow the masses, to follow the people, to see what the people want, and how the country could be better for the people. Except you do that, there's no way you will last long. And nobody, we should learn that nobody is infallible. You should always learn that too. Nobody is infallible. No matter how highly placed you are as a politician, once you decline, once you step aside from following what the people want, you come down.
As I said earlier, I was privileged to cover the election. What I saw there was that 15 hours of electorate had 15 hours to vote. And so they kept on trickling in. There was nothing like closing down this anywhere. There was nothing.
We who are not there saw it. We saw it. People just come from nowhere, just enter the polling booth, and within some short few minutes, they're out. And there was not a crowd, no crowd.
Yes, this is what I'm trying to.
Because the thing was it was orderly.
Yeah. What can our country learn from this? Nobody. In fact, on that day, I was able to move from freely, go by tube, went also by buses toward the entire. There was nowhere.
No friction.
No friction.
Yeah.
No close down of the economy. But in our country, we always close down the system. Run.
See, I saw something in the social media some days ago. The people who borrow are becoming fatter than people who lend.
Yeah.
That's an irony. See, here in Nigeria, we don't have enough resources. Yes, we waste a lot of resources trying to conduct elections unnecessarily. And while they have the resources, they keep their resources even during elections. You must learn from all these things. We have seen the things going on now. If you fail to learn, you lose more.
Yeah.
Now, it's not as if Britain does not have thugs, miscreants on their streets. Yeah, they were not visible. They were not visible.
The system.
During the election. The system did not allow them to be visible during that election. Why can't our own do the same thing? But it's our own politician that will use these people to disrupt elections for their own personal gains. I think we should learn from this. our own electoral process should be better the next election, so that we don't have wastage of human resources in terms of manpower, in terms of it's as if we don't even how would I put it? We don't value time in this part of our world. If we value the election of Britain that just went should teach us some lessons.
Okay. Very soon we will draw the curtain on this first part of our presentation, but let's move further west. The presidential election is slated for November in the United States of America. A few days ago, just about 2 days ago, President Joe Biden has apparently been pressurized into stepping down. How do you see this development?
When you talk about being pressurized, the moment I heard about that, the first thing that came to my mind is, will the Nigerian president allow himself to be pressurized that I'm not running again? It won't happen in this country. Once he sets his mind,
it can't happen.
It can't happen. Once he sets his mind into running, nobody can stop him. He will do everything possible to make sure that he runs, even if he lost in the end. Let me tell you, Joe Biden saw what the people saw.
Yeah.
Joe Biden knew how he performed during the earlier part of the campaign. So he knew that people were complaining about certain things, and some of the things he did too, he knew they were not right. So, in that sense, he needed just a little pressure for him to say, I'm stepping aside.
Yeah.
But here, all the pressures in the world cannot bring any president down here, any president aspirant down here.
So, I mean, if he's he's sitting president who sits for 30 years and is still waxing stronger.
No, I think we should learn lessons from that.
Yeah, lessons.
We should.
But I must ask, he has suggested or tipped his vice
Harris
to step in. The Democrats will now look at it from different angle and pick somebody who ran the ticket. Would you say the American nation is ready for a female president?
I think the American nation is ready for active, virile political leadership that will bring America to the height that it's supposed to be. Not minding whether it's a female or male. It's only in our place that we consider somebody is a female. So don't put him there, don't put her there. But with them there, what they are looking for is versatility, is activity, is virility. That's what they're looking for there. And if they think Kamala Harris can provide all these things, they will go for Kamala Harris. And I think Joe Biden, tipping Kamala Harris, must have sounded some opinions before doing that. And it's not only him saying that he's tipping Kamala Harris. Within his party, he must have sounded some opinion out before he's doing what he's doing. Well, the first female presidential candidate in America, the first female president in America
was the one everybody thought was going to win.
Yes.
And he won by majority vote.
So I think right now we could have a female president in America.
But a short while ago, even without asking you, you sounded racial. There was racial sentiments in
the British
election.
Yes. See,
can't this factor come in?
If it comes in, Kamala Harris will still win.
How?
If it comes in, let me tell you. See, you don't just look at somebody who's pro-black or pro-Hispanic or anything. They're looking for somebody who's pro-everybody. And that's one thing that Kamala Harris stands for. Kamala Harris, we have never seen Kamala Harris being pro-white or on that's the other side of Trump. I will see how would I put it now? The negative side of Trump is Kamala Harris. Or positive side of positive is Kamala Harris. And negative is Trump. And so anybody will see that the way Trump is going now, I can't see Trump coming on because people don't just want him. Americans don't want him again. They say he has been a disgrace to America. His former rule.
So to some extent, there is the God factor.
Yeah, if God wants something, yes.
Ordinarily, a female would have taken, maybe we'll defer this to another, but we must mention it. Okay. It looks like God is ready to bring in a female president in the United States.
Oh, yes.
Because when everybody thought Hillary Clinton was qualified to win,
to win,
he couldn't
get
it. And now, assess the lady in 4 years.
Kamala Harris has been.
What kind of vice president has he been?
Kamala Harris has shown us that it's good to be a team player. She's a team player, pure and simple. Whatever it is that her boss does, you can never hear Kamala Harris going on air to denounce Biden.
So he's a good follower.
He's a good follower. And so people see her in that form and they are likely to keep that for her. It's a markup.
Well, November will tell us all, or even between now and the next 1-2 weeks, the Democrats will meet and then ratify who will eventually be there. It's not yet.
It's not yet. Yes,
but at least the president has set a tone that this time around you need a female. Americans, you'll be looking at it from that angle. The woman can also do it. Sometimes they
can be better.
Yes.
Yes.
On that note, we are drawing the curtains for the first half of our presentation, part 1. I've been speaking with a veteran journalist and the former CPS, and SANYA FADIPE. We will go on a short break and return to bring you the concluding phase of our pertinent questions. Welcome back to the second half or second part of our program, Pertinent Questions. In the last 3 minutes, I spoke extensively on sundry matters, and we took a look into the international aspect of it all, of the sundry matters. In this second half, we want to come back home, still discussing sundry matters. Let's begin this second half with the latest on the minimum wage. Last week, 70,000 naira per month has been declared and confirmed, and organized labor did agree, coming from their 250,000 naira to naira per month for the least paid official. There have been so much said. Was the height, or I want to ask Sanya this question. Let's take it from the 250. Was it realistic? And the 70,000 they finally agreed to come down, coming from an Olympian height. Is it also realistic? I want your assessment of the two. Was the 250 they wanted to charge, or they started charging? Was it realistic? Was it feasible for government to pay? And is the 70 they finally agreed to, is it also a realistic thing?
Well, let me just start by saying that I've never believed in all the salary hike. I have never believed in it. There was never a salary hike that would not bring hardship for workers. Even they went as high as 500 to be paid, and government agreed. I can tell you that within a month or two, workers would have been crying again, because all other people who are not government workers would have taken a bit out of this salary, and it won't be nothing again. So the 250 they proposed initially, I saw it as a non-practicable thing. As an impracticable thing, it couldn't have happened. The government would not have agreed to 250. Now, coming down to 70 that they agreed on now, even that 70, let's ask ourselves, the 30,000 naira minimum wage, there are some state governments that have not paid up till now, and who cannot pay now. And so when I look back and see what the House is doing, the National Assembly, trying to create states, I just laugh. The states that are on ground are not feasible. The states that are on ground are not viable at all. So how can we be creating more? This minimum wage now that we're talking about, Labour has threatened that any state government that cannot pay 70,000 naira minimum wage, the Labour will come down on such a government. It won't work out. The next 2-3 years, we see that some state governments will still not be able to pay. I think we have drifted away from what we should do. What I think Labour should have done in the first instance is to awaken the consciousness of Nigerians to the high and audacious standard of living that some people are used to, some of our people are used to, and the penury that this has put majority of Nigerians. And then we fight for how can we best harmonize and make sure that Nigeria has a stable policy that will eat, maybe if not 3 squares a day, or 2 square meals a day. You have food on the table. You have things that you can do that will bring in money for you on an average level. That's what we should have fought for a good economy, not just bringing in minimum wage. It won't work.
But we operate a system that has not actually worked. And so you have to go for what this one, we can call it palliative, in the sense that without doing it, the ordinary man was being emasculated, emaciated into penury.
And are we saying that the ordinary man will no longer be emasculated and emaciated? Well, you see, it won't work. That's what I'm saying.
What is the hope then?
I see the hope. I think what the workers should do, they have put the cart before the horse. I think what workers should have done in the first instance is to make sure that we fight for a good economy. All of us in Nigeria, not just workers, all of us in Nigeria, you send the people out, try to educate them, let them know what's happening in the country today. A lot of Nigerians, even paper sellers, should also be educated on what's happening in Nigeria. For example, if salaries and emoluments are bring to a level where we can assess what the senator earns, we can assess what the reps earn. Up to now, we don't know. They are just banding. They are saying 600,000 naira as salary now. The rep. That's what they said they are earning right now, and they want to cut into half. But let's look at it. Since all these years I've been shouting, what do you earn? Have you ever known what they earn? Let's forget about that. Let's look at their emoluments. This allowance, that allowance, this allowance, that allowance. That one alone, those ones are far, far above their salaries. I think we should make it in such a way that whoever is going to any house, either you are going to the Senate or you are going to House of Reps or even the states, we should be able to say, go in there and earn citizen allowance. Have a job that you are doing as a representative. Then go in there. There was a time State wanted to run for local government election. If you are able to go in at that time, imagine what would have happened. People who would have followed him to try to go into that place, and things would have been better. But when you don't have money, you cannot go for elections here. That is the problem. So people must be brought up to realize what they have to fight for. The way workers are fighting now for this, all right, look at private stations, private organizations. That is the people who run the economy really are the what do they call them? There's a name for them now. The
private sector.
Private sector. See, the private sector is the one that really has to do with the economy. Look at America, look at Britain, look at everywhere. If you don't have the private sector, the economy will not run. But the private sector, how many of the private sector operators can pay this salary now? We run into another problem because a lot of them are not able to pay the 30,000 minimum wage. And we are back in square one. We are back to square one. So it won't work.
No doubt the cost of governance, running governance in the country is so high. And for this reason, the House, only the House, not the Senate has not said their own. The executives have not said their own. The House is talking of reducing by 50% their salary, cutting it down so as to reduce cost of governance. Do we applaud them?
I don't applaud them. I don't applaud them because if you look at it for 6 months, before 6 months, things have gone awry. They will still be living the way they are living because what they are earning is not really the salary they are living on. They are living on the money, like I said earlier on. All the allowances, which runs to millions, I would say. If they say it's not millions, then let them come out and say, this is how much we earn. And
in fact, why has it become
so difficult
for them to tell us?
It is because Nigeria, they will go into outrage. That's why they have not been able to say it. It will be outrageous when we hear it. And there will be chaos in this country if you hear what they are earning. And that's why they will not be able to. And in fact, these salaries and emoluments, National Salaries and Emolument Wages Commission or something, why have they not come up and say, okay, this is what they are earning? They have kept quiet too. Yeah, they're able to announce that of workers. So what are we talking about here? What is good for the goose should also be good for the gander. That's the way we should have approached it. If you're not approaching that way, then there's something they are hiding. And unless we know that's what they are hiding, we will not be able to get to the root of the matter.
As I said, it is not only, we can even applaud the House. I agree that it is too paltry a sum to reduce cost of governance. The Senate, the federal, the executive, when he came to power, what I expected was that from day one, cutting my salary, the president should have told us, the ministers he appointed would have, and why is it so difficult?
That one would not gel with the people. I will tell you why. You have to have done it like you said. Yes, I agree. Not even salaries alone. Cut down a lot of things, like the presidential fleet, like the jets that the president has, like cutting down the number of vehicles they have to buy for a lot of ministers and things like that. A lot of things would have been cut down. People have done well for us. But if he went to salaries alone and say, I'm cutting down my salary by even, I'm taking 1/4 of my salary, Nigerians will have laughed at him. And tell him, who do you think you are fooling? There are so many things you have to earn that will make up for all this you say you are cutting down. So it would have gelled. What I think he ought to have done was to say, okay, my cabinet, the whole of my cabinet, this is how much this is how far we will go. Maybe by 60% or something, 50% even really. Not only the president, or the presidential team as a whole. I say, okay, in the presidential lodge, this and this and this will no longer happen. In the presidency, this and this and this will no longer happen to cut down costs. If you had done that, then the fleet of vehicles are following wherever it's going will have been. Then the allowances for all the travels abroad and things like that, overseas travels, and all this would have been cut down. You now came back to come and tell us you are putting this much money, 70 billion for Hajj. How does that improve the economy? These are the kind of 40 steps that he has taken that will not go well for this country. I think we have to we still can take a step back and do the needful. We don't know what the Senate is going to say now, following the footsteps.
They will follow their footsteps.
Let's see what they will do. Maybe they will say they are cutting down maybe 75%.
They won't go
beyond 50.
It's not
or
likely.
maybe they go down below 50. Let's see what happens.
Well, the times are hard, and it's incontestable the fact that cost of governance in our country is rather too high and must be brought low.
Yes.
If it is not brought low, we are only, as Yorubas will say, let's move to a step further. The Supreme Court has adjudicated in the case the Attorney General of the Federation and Minister of Justice, Lateef Fagbemi, filed. Today, fiscal autonomy has been given to local governments. Yeah. There has been back and forth since the judgment was pronounced. Where does this put the ordinary Nigerian? Where are we going? How does it affect us, positively or negatively? This decision is a landmark one.
Yes, it's a landmark one. But personally, I'm saying now, I can't see us moving forward with this decision. And I'll tell you why. If, for instance, the local government authorities, headed by the local government chairman, they've been following the footsteps of the governors. The governors have been following the footsteps of the president. And that's exactly the way it's going to go down. The local government chairmen are going to come up now, become law of the manor. They're going to start exercising their arrogance over the. They have not been able to do that for some time because they have not got enough.
They are hemmed in.
Yes, financially. Now they are having enough money. A lot of things that we are going to start seeing a lot of things. Before we can get out of the woods, it will not be in this regime. We're still going to have them learning, throwing the ropes of the governors until people are able to say, no, we don't want this. No, we don't want this. But people have got to be on their toes. If people are on their toes, we can hem them in and tell them they're becoming too extravagant. They're becoming too lavish. We don't want it. Even at that, if you don't find a way to curb their spending, I think I read in one place that some measures will be put in place to see how they spend, what they spend on, and how feasible are the things they spend on. Because they might tell you they are building a dam there for 50 million, whereas they will spend just 500,000 on that dam, and the thing will not be workable. These are the kind of things you start doing. You should start to learn to recall our representatives, wherever they are.
And they misbehave.
When they misbehave. Once we start learning that, then I think we are going to go somewhere. But as it is right now, I'm just sitting on the fence.
Is this not all from the fact that our constitution is a little bit faulty?
Yes.
It tells you states and the federal government, it also admits that the state is a three-tier government.
I think we have a problem here with the presidential system. We borrowed the presidential system from those who have practiced, who know how to practice it. And we saw like I would say it again, we saw the template they laid for us there. Instead of following it, we brought that presidential system back here and nurtured it to our own taste. Changed a lot of things to suit us, to suit our profligacy in this country. And except we go back to the real presidential system of government, we're not even going to get out of the woods. And we're still going to run round and round and round and round, wasting money. It won't work for us. Good.
Now that you are saying it won't work for us, what can be done?
Constitutional amendment. New constitution, I would say, not constitutional amendment. If you're talking about constitutional amendment, you have to do a lot of things to amend the constitution. I think we should sit down again. Because the constitution we are running right now is a military constitution.
Yeah.
And the military fashioned that constitution to suit themselves at that time. And so we must sit down now, as in this civilian dispensation, to say, how do we now run this country? Let all of us go for a referendum, first of all. Are we going for the presidential system again? Are we going for the parliamentary system? Whichever one we are going for, let us now see how we now sit down and formulate a new constitution.
These lawmakers, for 25 years,
No, these lawmakers will not do us any
They
good.
will not do, yes.
They will
And,
do it.
and for now, how can you do it?
I think
It is they who have the power to make laws.
yes, they have the power to make laws. But also, that's why I said earlier on that the civil servants, the labor, they have not done what they are supposed to do. If they have done what we are supposed to do, people will have risen up and say, no, we don't want this anymore. This is what we want. And if you don't give us what we want, the nation will stand still. If we do that, not this kind of process they want to have. The one they are planning right now.
How then do you, who mobilizes?
The organization will be from labor.
Must
be from labor. That's what I said. If it's from labor, labor will first of all go around the whole country, educate the people on what the country is running right now, what we are losing right now. They must have their facts to tell the people, not just calling people names and things like that. No, have your facts and tell them this is what you are doing right now. This is what we should not do. Let us all now rise up and say this is what we want. Labor can do it.
Labor can do it, but you always know that Nigerians, seriously speaking, oftentimes do not trust their labor.
Because labor has not behaved in a trustworthy manner.
How can they now?
If they now stand up now and not fight for minimum wage, they say we have the right to fight for minimum wage, but we are not doing that. Because you are people who are suffering. All of us are suffering. All of us must rise up now, not labor alone. Labor has not had the goodwill of the people before because it has not built that goodwill. Always fighting for itself. And so now, if labor continues to fight for itself, it's not going to have the goodwill to build it.
I'm afraid because you mentioned Obasanjo regime that brought in this due dispensation, the Fourth Republic, if you choose to call it. For 25 years, we have had 5 or 6 different national assemblies. Each of them comes in, gets sworn in, and toe the same line of the past.
Because you have not learned. Okay, that's what I say. If you don't learn, you are still going to go the same way. Unless we sit down and learn. You're not learning. If you tell people today that protest could turn ori, could turn vengeful, could turn diabolical, could turn destructive, people will listen to you. Or they will just say, we must protest, we must protest. And when you get there, you're going to destroy properties of your own people. And that's the irony of it. And so that's why I say, we must mobilize people. Labor must stand up now and behave as labor does in other crimes. That's the way we should do it. If you don't do it that way, you're still going to, you will just complain, shout, accept us, you're not going to get anywhere.
On that note, I must thank you very much. Time is no longer our friend. This show is for 45 minutes and we are almost there. I'd like to thank you very much, my friend, my brother, and my professional colleague, SANYA FADIPE. Thank you for being able to express and come to this program with a clarity of mind and all that you have said. I appreciate it more.
Thank you very much, Modest, for bringing me to this beautiful studio. And I appreciate it very much. And I hope this station will continue to go stronger and stronger every day. And in the nearest future, we're going to watch this station on a global network.
That's the hope, and may it be done.
Amen. Amen.
To the viewer at home, it's been 45 minutes of discussion in a very conversational manner as usual. We call the program Pertinent Questions. I hope and believe that we have been able to ask some very pertinent questions concerning our nation and nationhood. Next week, we'll have the privilege of bringing you another presentation. I am ADETOYESE SHITTU ALAMU, your anchor. Thanking you for being there, watching us, and saying goodbye for now until we meet next week, Monday. So long, so togetherly. Goodbye for now.